What's up, everybody? GM, happy Thursday. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to this week's town hall. We do have a couple special guests here this week. We've got Trent and William, who are both recently returned from their kind of epic adventure overseas to the Art Rocket project launch at the Baikonur Cosmodrome, which is really, really cool. Jealous that they had this amazing experience and super excited to hear more about this. Obviously, it was really amazing being involved in one aspect of this project, which was the Brazil trip and collecting some of the art that eventually went on to adorn the outside of this Soyuz rocket launch. But yeah, we'll be hearing from both William and Trent, who were, well, a couple of the citizens. We also had Julio on the ground there as well, and other friends of the MoonDAO community who were in attendance there at the launch. But yeah, we'll kick that off here shortly. And also after that, we'll have some project roundtable updates from our project leads. We do have a couple people who are not able to attend this week just from other travel plans, or holidays are kicking off pretty soon and all that. So project roundtable updates might be fairly quick this week. But yeah, before we get to Trent and William's presentation, I just thought we'd have a couple little updates from the MoonDAO community. Cool thing, we welcomed 3 new citizens into the Space Acceleration Network this week, including Gretchen, Roy, and Alexa. So we're up to 163 citizens now, which is super cool. We're in over 30 countries now around the world. Love to get more of you in. If you're watching and you're not yet a citizen, please do consider joining. The larger we can grow this network, the more impact we can have, the more we can have a big impact around the world in terms of who we've got organizing here and getting together, and call attention to more organizations and space projects that are working and trying to appeal to folks here in the network. So yeah, and it's super cool because also Gretchen Green, she kind of came to us by way of the Space Camp fundraiser that we did. She had flown to space on one of the Blue Origin suborbital rockets here earlier this year, I believe. And yeah, so she's the 5th citizen that has flown to space. It's part of our network. So 5 out of the 163 citizens is pretty cool. Hopefully we can continue to grow that number and also, see more of our citizens going to space in the future too, on future opportunities. But yeah, speaking of the Space Camp fundraiser, I just wanted to mention that the funds have been received by Space Camp, so we're working on finalizing the naming agreements there in terms of what we're going to put our name on as a community. That's all been received. We also I'm excited to share that we did have some outside donations that didn't come through our fundraising Launchpad portal, but went direct to Space Camp on behalf of MoonDAO. So the total that they received was $9,973. So yeah, almost double the impact that we had via the community and the 50+ people that donated here, and then also the people who donated outside direct to Space Camp in MoonDAO's, on MoonDAO's behalf. So yeah, we're finalizing not just one naming agreement, but the naming agreement for another piece of hardware there at the facility that's going to be opening next year. So yeah, we expect to get that paperwork here soon and finalize everything, by the end of the year here, before January for sure. In other updates, we did have a couple votes from the community from last week's town hall. We had speaking of the Art Rocket project, there was a follow-up proposal submitted by Anastasia and Bartan. So that was a no-cost project that was approved by the MoonDAO community. And we also had the new project system V8 proposal that was accepted by the community. So that's a pretty substantive change to the way our project system is going to be operating here in Q1. Just pull up a little AI type presentation that we'll go through it real quick. But yeah, we're changing the project system. So rather than having kind of an ad hoc proposal cycle where people can submit any proposals on a given week, we're going to be having a more concentrated and focused effort on a quarterly basis. So the seasonal governance model means that if you have like a good idea that you want to get funding for and present to the MoonDAO community, you will need to get organized and have something on hand to present to the MoonDAO community here for the next quarter. And we had a lot of noise in the past, where it's just proposals coming and going. Sometimes we have no proposals, sometimes we have one or two, and they're just simple up, down, yes, no votes for each proposal. It's hard to kind of weigh the true impact or weigh these proposals against one another, where we should focus our strategic effort in a given quarter or a given time. So this kind of just allows us to see the whole, list of options here and see what the MoonDAO community actually supports and thinks would really move the needle for the community. So going from a kind of high noise to more of a high signal approach. And not all of the proposals will be accepted. So in a given cohort, if we have a certain number of proposals, we'll accept the top 50% of those proposals based on the governance vote. So it's going to be a little bit more selective. So the idea is to move from maybe a quantity of, more focused on quantity of projects in the past or whatever comes up, to more quality projects, and how we can get a cohort of really amazing project leads and amazing projects to focus on for Q1 and obviously eventually in Q2 and future quarters. This will be the first time we're using something like this. So, there may be things that we need to tune in better in terms of the thresholds or what have you, but we'll tackle that once we get there. One thing we're trying to do is just simplify kind of the operations overhead. So one of those things is, at the end of the quarter, once people get their retroactive awards, there was a lot of operational overhead to collect those results from each team and get the votes and then send all the rewards to each individual. But in the future, we'll just send the rewards to the project multisig, and the project multisig can determine how to send those out on their own, with their own method. Sometimes people have more, they need more flexibility in terms of how they want to distribute those funds, or they might want to continue using those funds to keep doing their project, what have you. So here are the key dates that you need to kind of bear in mind here for Q1. Basically, January 15th is our initial submission deadline. So if you have an idea, you'll need to get it in by January 15th, submitted into our project submission channel. And from there, the Senate will be able to take a look, do kind of a workshop, help refine these ideas or provide more detailed feedback about, what they think works well or doesn't work well, or how it could be improved. And then the project leads will have a chance to make any small changes there before they eventually go up to the community showcase and vote at the subsequent town hall on January 22nd. But the TLDR is just January 15th. Like if you have an idea, it's coming up quick, basically. So this is why I wanted to talk about this today. The vote just went through and we're basically 1 month out, less when you consider how much time is going to be, how much our time is going to be pulled away, how much our attention is going to be pulled away during the holidays that are coming up sooner than we know it. So and just as an invite here to, if you have a cool idea, cool project you want to work on, get that submitted into ideation this week, and get that, formulated so we can get in front of the MoonDAO community, get in front of the Senate here in early January. Previously we've had these kind of guidelines where projects should be reporting each week on their progress here in town halls, et cetera. This is just going to reduce kind of that overhead, where we'll have more of a monthly focus on reviewing projects in a little more depth. So just kind of reduces some of that overhead on teams, just allow people to focus more on actually building and doing the thing that they set out to do, rather than reporting back or writing their updates necessarily. So lots of ideas, go through the submission process, Senate review, it'll go through the community vote, and hopefully we get some really high impact, amazing projects from all of you watching here today. While we're going to be more selective, hopefully it just leads to higher quality projects. And it'll also allow us to kind of focus as a group around what we want to do on any given week or any given quarter. I mean, because, sometimes there's so many competing demands, or the projects pop up later in the cycle, but now we could sit down with a cohort of project builders and really focus on how to get them to be successful, and how we can all, focus our marketing, our messaging, et cetera, around certain initiatives now that it'll be clear from, 3 months out, basically. Just a little recap here of some of the changes from the old system to the new system. And yeah, so hopefully, that gives you a kind of broad overview. We have the full PR proposal, the changes to the project system in our MoonDAO documentation. You can go through that, just docs.moondao.com. Please do read through it, but mostly this is an invitation now to start thinking about your ideas and actually submit them into ideation, or start the conversation with us about what you'd like to do and what's feasible, and seeing how we can kick things off with a bang here in January. So yeah, in the Discord, January 15th, don't forget. That's basically it, but cool. Yeah. So no other real admin updates. I just wanted to go through those things real quickly, and I will invite Trent and William up the stage. Hey guys, how's it going?
Howdy, howdy.
Hello.
Hey.
Good to be here.
Yeah, great to have you guys. Excited to hear more about the great adventure, and yeah, turn it over to you guys. We can pull the slideshow up here.
Sounds good.
Cool. Go ahead and take it away.
Well, everyone, thank you so much for having us on today to tell you a little bit about our adventure throughout Russia and Kazakhstan. We had a handful of DAO citizens that we got to engage with throughout the entire project. So myself, Will, Julio was there, Paz was there, obviously the entire Unity team, Rena. We got to meet another member out there in Moscow. And then actually even in Turkey as well, kind of traveling through back and forth to Russia, I got to connect with some other DAO citizens like Rod, so from Loonco. Very exciting. And today we just wanted to give you more of insight into what we got to do with Unity. And to start things off, Moscow is an incredibly beautiful city. I don't know, what do you think, Will?
Wow, it was really cold. Well, me as a Brazilian, for sure, it was really cold.
Like very European, I would say, right? Like kind of what you would expect. Very historical, incredibly clean. The community of people there were super nice and welcoming. Not just all the friendly faces here.
Yeah, and especially like how big it is, like how grandeur it is, like the urbanism and architecture. It's incredible. Never expect this.
And in this photo here, you see we've got like Alexia, Will, Tina. Behind Rena there is Paz. He's kind of hiding. I think Julia was running around somewhere as well. But this was like, I think, one of our first nights all together in the city. And before actually Will and the Brazilians and Bolivians and everyone else kind of got in, both Julio and I got to go to a historical watchmaking facility in Russia, in Moscow. And they built the watches for like Yuri Gagarin. You can actually see Yuri's watch there on the right-hand side of the screen. And this is what their watch museum looks like. It was a really cool kind of side adventure. There was so much going on that, we were just constantly being moved from place to place throughout our entire time in Russia and Kazakhstan. And Julio actually ended up purchasing one of these newer watches that is used even on EVAs on the International Space Station. So as some of you are probably aware, a lot of the NASA astronauts will wear like Omega watches. And then this company is actually called Sturmansky. And if you want to purchase these as well, you actually can. So it's pretty cool. They have a bunch of different other companies, but just something that was kind of fascinating. And then after that, we got to go to the Korolev House Museum. The museum here, for those of you who are unaware who Korolev was, is kind of like the Goddard or the von Braun in Russia, just really the godfather of rocketry and space development within the USSR at the time. So this was his house here in Moscow. It's turned now into a museum. And inside is pretty typical of the time period, but again, still fairly beautiful to see it just preserved like this. And I think the coolest part, for me at least, was that Korolev had a bunch of different astronauts, cosmonauts, come out here as they would converse and brainstorm around going to space and exploring space. And so think about all of the conversations that got to happen within these walls. Is pretty neat and interesting. Then we were all together having a good time, running around town.
Yeah, well, the picture in the left, we can see like this grandiose statue behind us, which is the Museum of Cosmonautics, where we have like this rocket going on. And in the right side, we have inside the Museum of Cosmonautics. Unfortunately, the light is like covering Julio's face, but you can see pretty much everyone here, like all the MoonDAO citizens. And yeah, it was really cool. What was your impression like in the museum so far?
Oh yeah, it was incredible. I mean, and some of these next photos you see of Will here as well. I mean, this museum, and I think throughout Russia in general, you know, later on in the trip, we even got to go to like a school in Kazakhstan where these students just have so much access to space technology. And it was the same for this museum. Just everything that you could imagine or would want to see in regards to space was on display in the museum.
And the craziest part is that almost everything was like original. Even in this school, right? Like they have original rockets and engines, and it was amazing to see like how kids were in touch with such a piece of history, like right there. You know, it was incredible.
Yeah, definitely. This museum was yeah, just fairly extensive, right? Everything from meteorites, pieces of the moon, to just all of really USSR history and up to modern day, right?
And you can get inside the Mir station. Like this picture in the middle is the Mir. You can get inside, see how it was designed, like the internal design. Of course, that you can't really touch everything, but well, come on, like it's really cool. And all these spacesuits are original, so you can see like details, how it's made. Like I think I'd never been into a museum like that. Perhaps you guys in US have like something like that, but well, for sure, for me it was unique.
Yeah, even with like the Air and Space Museum, the Smithsonian, and whatnot here in the States, at least, just to give a bit of a comparison, it was just as amazing, right? With incredible pieces of Soviet and Russian history. So then we got to jump on to, what was the plane that we were riding on again, Will?
Oh, it's a Tupolev. It was the first time that I flew in a Tupolev. For you too, right?
Tupolev, right? So I guess this was just a very narrow worldview that I had around just Boeing and Airbus, right? I guess being world leaders of air transportation or commercial flight. But then you have obviously Russian companies, Chinese companies, and so on. So we got to fly in a Russian plane to Baikonur, Kazakhstan. And so in this image here, you get to kind of just see a little bit how Baikonur is spread out. So down in the middle center of the screen, you actually see a little red area. This is the city of Baikonur. And so Baikonur, for anyone who hasn't traveled too much, I guess, how would you describe Baikonur? Fairly small town, but still with just about everything you would need, right? I mean, there was comfortable hotels, and there were obviously big supermarkets and things like that as well, that you could really purchase anything that you needed, right? I mean, it was a fairly modern day city.
Yeah, like nowadays is a modern city, but you can see that originally it was built around like the places where people went there just to work, you know, like. So I talked to a bunch of kids that were working in our hotel, like kids, 18 years old kids, and they told me that they like to have some fun. They have to travel to other cities, so it's very focused on the launch industry, let's say.
Oh yeah, definitely the case. And then outside of Baikonur, right, historically we have the rest of the sprawl for the Cosmodrome. Cosmodrome, obviously starting like with Korolev back in the day, building out all of the USSR's capabilities, right, as there was this space race between the US and Russia at the time. So you see a lot of these sites. I mean, our days were jam-packed, right? Once we were there, we were really running around every single day with the kids and their parents, right? There was about 170 of us total. and we were being bussed around to all these different sites and getting more historical insights to all of these places, right? Was there anyone besides obviously the launch pad that stuck out to you, Will?
Well, in our bus, we had Oleg, which was a cosmonaut, and he was explaining a lot of things, like his experience. Of course, it was all in Russian. So our other Oleg, which was our guide, he was like trying to translate as much as he could. But yeah, unfortunately, we lost a lot of his experience because, yeah, Russian. But yeah, we had this privilege to travel with Oleg, the cosmonaut, and he was explaining everything for us. Like, it was really cool.
And here are some of those photos of some of these sites here throughout the Cosmodrome. You want to tell us a little bit about these?
Yeah. Well, we visit a lot of places. This is just like, I don't know, like 10% of what we saw. But the picture in the middle is a full-size Soyuz, like full, complete build. And you can walk around, and they are like 1-to-1 scale because it's a real one. It's not like a mock-up. It's a real one that they took and put it there. The picture on the right side is the launch pad where Yuri Gagarin and the Sputnik were launched. And it was like the last mission of this launch pad was the mission that they put Oleg up there in space. So yeah, I unfortunately I couldn't find the picture, but we took a picture with him inside the mission control of this launch pad. Which was like underground, and wow, it was really cool. And then you can see like the signature of his last mission in the control panel. It was wow. And the picture on the left side, this is where Buran is, like the Buran that was crushed by the roof. It was behind me in this picture.
Yeah, I think this big machine as well as was what did they call it? The crawler, the caterpillar crawler, or something like this?
Yeah, they have like a full railroad transportation between the launch pads.
Oh yeah,
of course, yeah, like they can.
all of these sites had railroads between them.
Yeah, so you can like move parts around, and they have like these huge machines to transport not the Buran but also the Energia and the Proton. I think there is a picture about the Proton launch site. And yeah, Energia is the one that sent Buran to space. So yeah. And here is Buran. Look, behind me is Buran, and this is not a mock-up as well. This is like I would say like 30% original or something like that. Can you remember this one?
Well, no, yeah, I remember that when we were looking at the Barons here, these were them in their building facilities, right? Something that I thought was really interesting about being on site at the Cosmodrome is it's obviously very flat there, right? There was a reason that Korolev had this idea of building the Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan because it's so flat, and every building, if we go back again, is spaced fairly far apart, right? In case there was, I think the reasoning was explained to me that if there was some kind of accident at one site, or if in time of war, there were, explosions, bombs perhaps that were dropped on a certain sites, that it wouldn't get just, all of the buildings, right? It wouldn't destruct all of these buildings. And so lots of railroads between everything, as you said, and then you just get to these ginormous buildings and you walk inside and holy moly, there's, 2 Barans that were just being built right here, right? In the like the 80s.
Yeah, one is a mock-up, like I would say like complete mock-up, and this one specifically is like the most original one, which is like 30 to 40% original. And there is a Soyuz on the left, on the right picture, and it's also original one. Like almost everything that we saw in Baikonur was original. Like just a few little things were mock-up, but yeah, everything was original. And this is in front of the Korolev Museum, which we also. Oh, and there is like a mock-up of Buran behind where we went inside.
Yeah, you're talking about in the image with the full Soyuz there. That right behind there's the Buran that we were able to actually go inside of and get up into like the flight cockpit and everything.
And this is inside the assembling facility. It's like a huge hangar where, and this is original, like this is real one. So this is part of the rocket, and it's a real one, and we could like walk around and see how they assemble things. And in the middle of this huge hangar, you also have like this railroad where the rocket is transport to the launch pad. So yeah. Oh, and on the left side, the left picture, this is the launch of the Proton site, which will have a launch in December, right? I'm not sure. Yeah.
I think so, yeah. So Russia's currently largest rocket, right? The Proton, usually used for cargo flights. Do you remember the weight that was able to carry? It was something, what, 50 tons?
Yeah. So no, I'm not sure. I could be saying something wrong,
It's a
but
large rocket.
yeah, it was like a real large one, but not like the Energia, which is like the largest one. Proton is like the middle one, let's say.
Yeah, very cool.
Wow, and we have like, I think this was the coolest part, because right, like here are people like putting the dreams of kids from 50 cities and 14 countries in North America, South America, Europe, Africa, and Asia, like literally from everywhere on this planet. And they are putting the dreams and hopes of these kids on the rocket right now. So the first two pictures is inside the hangar that we were, like the picture a few pictures ago. We were there, and they were putting this, right here. So they were putting the hopes and dreams of kids inside this hangar. And in this picture that we were, like, this one, this is like the highest point of the trip, I think, because we could see for the first time rocket with drawings on the surface.
Well, and I think just to give again a reminder to everyone in the audience or listening to this, the whole project itself put on by Aliona and her team, right, with the Unity Foundation, as they would travel to all these different hospitals with cosmonauts and astronauts, right, and get these kids to do these paintings, and then get to work then with Roscosmos throughout so much turmoil as leadership changed over the course of an entire year to try and get approvals to make this like kind of like a vehicle wrap, right? They took these images and they vectored them and scaled them up in size and then printed them off basically on a giant sticker that they were able to attach to the rocket. And going from so many no's and yeses and confusing responses and answers, it was so impressive, at least from my perspective, to see that they were actually able to get Roscosmos's approval to put these hopes and dreams of these kids going through cancer treatment on this rocket to then get to fly to space. Like, it was just absolutely mind-blowing.
Yeah, like this is amazing for sure. Like Aliona's work was incredible and still is, right? Like 50 cities and 14 countries. This is a lot. And MoonDAO was part of this in Brazil. So yeah, we also have Brazilian kids right there. And yeah, and to be part of this is like just, like makes me really, really proud to be part of this big history of Unity. Oh, and here is the transportation from the hangar where we were to the launch pad. So this hangar
here, right? And then after wrapped, getting sent out to the launch pad. No, and I would definitely, sorry to interrupt, Will, I would definitely even add on that I think that MoonDAO as a community should be incredibly proud of being able to have been able to support this, not only in Brazil, but also in Russia. I've never gotten to see a project like this before and on this scale. When we were originally going out here to work with the community, I thought that it was going to be the launch alone, but I don't know about you. I think that our impact was much greater than simply the launch. As the rocket was going out to the launch pad here, or launch, they call them launch tables actually, right? So launch table 1 or launch table 31, we were at 31 here, right? And here's a quick video actually of the thing getting stood up. Ryan, if I can get your help here, I'm not sure if I can
Yeah, let me
pull it up and
here.
play.
It might overwrite us, so let's see. We might not be able to talk, but I'll pull it up.
Yeah. So we were so close to this thing as it was being like the hydraulics on this from the train car pushing it up this piston to stand up this entire Soyuz rocket into this launch was wild. I think everybody had a huge smile on their face. The kids were up here just, you know, enthralled. And let's actually jump into the slides again if we can, Ryan.
Did we lose it by pulling this video up? We might.
But Will, how did you feel when that thing was being stood up?
You know, when we're like in a place and then you have to you need some time to understand that you are there. Like it was just like that. I was just looking at this being put in place and I was like, am I really here? You know, like it's amazing. Yeah, here it's another amazing picture of the art rocket. So
all of the art stood up right on Launchpad. So after everything was stood up, it was still a few days until the launch, right? And so we were traveling around with the kids and their parents to different locations, because this wasn't the only art that was being done, right? Just like MoonDAO in Brazil, we were supporting with Unity 2 other art projects, right? And here, I'll quickly talk about. We had a colleague basically from Russia who is a street artist as well. And he was painting this outside of a school, kind of like a Boy Scout type school, but both for boys and girls, right? Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts in the local community on the wall, which was absolutely amazing. His name was Nikita. I forget Nikita's last name. If anybody is interested, we can send you to more of his work. But he had all the kids come up and draw as well onto the painting, which was really cool to see. And then, of course, you want to tell us about Paz's work here, since he's not with us.
Yeah. Paz was doing graffiti inside the Progress hangar, where they Progress is also part of the Roscosmos, but they are like apart. And so yeah, they were giving this space for us to do this amazing graffiti by Paz, and the kids went there and signed their names and also like made some contributions to the graffiti itself. So this is like inside graffiti inside the Progress hangar.
Yeah, and the Progress is like the rocket company, right? They build the rocket systems. And then, of course, so I'll have to throw this out there on Thanksgiving Day, November 27th. We got to watch 2 Russian cosmonauts and 1 NASA astronaut fly to the International Space Station, where they, of course, docked safely and are now currently up there. But we wanted to play another video for you that we got to take in person. We were about 2 kilometers out at the launch site. All right, if you can pull up the launch MP4 for me, please. I love this Russian loudspeaker. Everybody going wild. And so as this actually ascends about 90 seconds into the launch, there's something I wasn't able to see it. I don't know if you got to see it, Will, but there's something called the Korolev Cross, right? A lot of these things, as we do in other parts of the world, we name things after historical figures. And the Korolev Cross is when these bottom 4 initial boosters or stages of this rocket fall off, and they fall off in this kind of cross configuration, again, about 90 seconds into the flight. By the time we were launching, it was so bright. It was like 2 something in the afternoon. My eyes were not good enough to see it.
Me neither. It was really hard to see, but some people spotted, and of course the cameras could see it. But yeah, and there is a tradition that if you can see the Korolev Cross, then you can make a wish.
Throughout the entire launch, the energy was absolutely incredible. We had the head of Roscosmos there, actually, students of excuse me, students, the kids that were with us got to actually sing to the head of Roscosmos as well. Daniel, who was with us, had one of the most beautiful voices I think I ever heard in my entire life. A very talented young man, singing opera, composing, singing, recording, mixing, everything. And just to get to hear him sing there was phenomenal. And then, of course, later in the evening, gave me goosebumps.
Yeah, and especially when I found out that the music that he sung for the head of Roscosmos was his composition. So I thought it was like a traditional Russian song, but no, it was his song. Like, it was really cool.
Well, and I wish maybe we'll be able to later like drop in a chat or something some of the stuff that he sung for us. And his song was specific, that he composed around sending Unity dreams to space, right? About this very, very launch, and it was very moving. The images that came out of this launch, of course, were also phenomenal. These came from much higher power cameras than what I had in my pocket. And, you know, I would say all in all, I truly am at a loss for words, William and Ryan, and to everyone watching, is that out of all of the space projects that I've ever gotten to be involved with, this one supported by Unity and MoonDAO and their sponsors to make this happen was out of this world.
Yeah, and being able to be with the kids and all this work, it was amazing. Like, of course, that you can see, you guys can see the pictures, but being there, like feeling the energy is, yeah, unable
Hard
to
to capture in the pictures.
Yeah, that's true.
Super difficult to do so. And I guess I also wanted to add, though, this trip was incredibly insightful for how Russia is kind of currently operating as a space nation, and potentially, you know, what their future might look like. To get to speak with, you know, these kids as well as other professionals on this trip around space and their visions and what they want to see done too was really insightful. As we mentioned at the beginning of our little chat here with everybody, there was a lot of talk about, you know, how can you use DAOs, or how can you raise funding and support space into the future, right? What are the economics of space? I think, Will, we spoke a lot about the economics of space. Would you say?
Yeah, I don't know if we have like time for this, but we spoke for hours, like, about the possibilities, ideas, and for sure, I think we should bring this to the community and have a more broad discussion with everyone. I think, yeah, we will definitely benefit from the inputs and insights from everyone, for sure.
I totally agree. Yeah. So if anyone in the community has, you know, further questions, maybe about things that we spoke about, maybe outside of any questions we're able to answer today, feel free to reach out to us, and we'll happily discuss. And I'm sure we'll be, you know, getting some proposals ready for January 15th.
Yeah, you should submit some, you know, some thoughts or things that you're musing on while you were there together. Submit those into ideation, or just start a more general conversation about, you know, what we can work on together as a DAO, as a community. I think that would be obviously most welcome, beyond any specific project ideas. Super cool, guys.
Yeah. Well, thanks again for having us on. And I don't know, does anybody have any questions, or did you want to move to something else?
Yeah, we had a question here from Titan. He was asking if you had any shashlik, the barbecued local meat, while you were there.
Well, we ate a lot of things. For sure, borscht. I think it was the main thing. Some meat, like we ate camel meat.
Okay, nice.
And I think horse meat.
Horse. Right? Yeah, don't forget some horse.
Yeah.
Well, when I was in Kazakhstan a couple of years ago too, but on the other side, so, you know, it could be cultural differences and all that. Definitely ate a lot of horse meat and fermented camel's milk, fermented mare's milk, and it was awesome country though. I really enjoyed my time in
and this little ball, like, which is super salty. I don't know what is this, but have you tried this, Ryan?
It doesn't ring a bell. I don't know.
Yeah,
The cheese
probably
ball?
someone though. Yeah, like
Oh,
the
the
cheese
cheese
ball, but
ball?
it was what
Maybe.
was super salty. Yeah, I don't know how to eat like that, but it was really cool. Yeah,
I love the
well,
fried bread. They had that bar stock fried bread, at least super common. I was at every meal. I just devoured those things. Delicious, but
it's really
yeah,
delicious.
yeah, surprisingly cool. But yeah, I think that's it in terms of just. Was this Trent? This is not your first rocket launch, right?
This is would be, I believe, my third rocket launch.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think that was another just super fascinating perspective, right? Is getting to see SpaceX launch from Kennedy, Blue Origin launch, out of Van Horn, Texas, the Soyuz, and then Julio. I'm sure he would be happy to tell us about. Julio, if you're listening, you still need to send me a video
He's
of
in the
the
audience.
launch. He jumped, out of Russia and then got all the way to Brownsville to watch SpaceX. So
Nice.
he was really on a mission there. But yeah, I think there's so many more opportunities to see these, right, than there used to be.
Yeah.
And so I think, if you can get groups of friends together to go out and just watch one of these launches somewhere, it really is worth it.
Very impactful. Yeah, we've had a couple like MoonDAO get-togethers or events where we've gone for in-person rocket launches, and so
It's
exciting.
It's like, again, when you watch sports on TV, right? Like you might get a really good view in the same way, like if you're watching a YouTube video of a launch, but you don't get that, that crowd roar, the thundering of the engines, right?
Right.
As you do when you're in person at these types of things. So you have to feel it.
I think
100%,
you described perfectly. I think it's like a soccer match, When you are watching from TV is one thing, but when you are inside, it's yeah. I think your explanation is perfect.
William, was this your first launch or?
First launch, first
Yeah,
launch
so
for sure.
what was your impression? I guess your first rocket launch is pretty amazing.
Well, it's like I think the sound. I think it's the most amazing part. Like when you feel the vibration coming, and yeah, it was really emotional for me. Like I don't know how to explain. Like a launch is really technical. It's like very engineering like, but the emotion was super strong.
And you can feel it in your chest and all that. I got my,
like
my bandana on my.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's cool to see that art on the rocket, and yeah, really awesome that you guys had this experience and represented the MoonDAO community out there. And hopefully we can continue to build on these types of experiences. More launch experiences, to see launches, and to work on cool projects like this for more people in the future for sure. We do have a question that just came in from the audience here on YouTube from Martina. She's asking, I guess, Trent, for you, how would you compare the different rocket launches you've seen? What was similar versus different about them? What would you do differently during the next launch, if anything? P.S. I've seen 6 different rocket launches.
Wow, that's incredible. I think that Martina, your insight is definitely probably better than anything I'd be able to tell you. The Blue Origin launch for me was probably the least exciting. Well, I think it's just because of being so far out, right? I think that goes without being said is that the closer you are to a rocket, right, as it's going up, has this level of this cool factor that just rises to the top of the charts, right? Just because again, the sound, the vibrations, the visuals, everything. So for Blue, I was a little too far away. And then for me, the Soyuz was really comparable. I actually got to go see like a Cyan fly on Inspiration 4. And I would say that the Soyuz to me was fairly comparable to that, right? A lot of the popping and cracking of the engines was the same. Visually, the rockets looked, somewhat similar in size for the untrained eye, like mine. And for me, I think now it's like that Starship has to be seen.
Yeah, Starship's pretty mind blowing. And the return to launch site with the catch, we were there for one of the Mechazilla chopstick catches here, and January of this year, which was just mind blowing. But definitely, yeah, make it down there when you can.
I mean, one last thing I guess I would say is being in Baikonur, right? So Baikonur is like being leased by Kazakhstan, supposedly. Like Russia is taking hold of it until like 2050, and they seem to have gifted a lot of like locations and access to the Kazakhstani government. And so you're kind of seeing this transition of historical artifacts, but just being able to be there, it's like we don't know what's going to happen to Baikonur in the future. So just getting to go somewhere with so much history, I would say that this was what made it such an impactful opportunity, and not only for those of us representing the DAO, but also, I mean, all of these kids that were there. I can't tell you how many times, and Will can back me up on this, we just had kids telling us that like this is the best 5 days of their life, or the best day of their life, or just that gratitude that also got to creep in was really great to see.
Yeah, the Brazil trip was also just very, I mean, not the rocket launch portion, obviously, but just working with all the kids in all these different hospitals was very, very moving, and yeah, very impactful on just a personal level. So really cool that you guys got to see this, follow through with the, kind of not the end of this journey. Obviously, it's going to continue in different ways, but kind of a major milestone for this project for sure.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, anything else, guys?
Well, thank you for this time. I think it was really nice to remember everything together with Trent. We for sure have like an amazing community. I think one of the most amazing things that we have at MoonDAO is people. We have amazing people here, and it's a pleasure to share these moments with you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you, William. Thank you, Trent. Yeah, Julia was watching too. Says hello, of course. So yeah, awesome. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, we'll see you in the Discord. If you guys have any other questions, just let us know.
Cool. All right, we will shift gears here a little bit into project updates. Got a couple people here. I did just see a question come in here from Martina again about what kind of projects are good candidates for the January 15th deadline. Are there any restrictions? Great question. Martina, anybody else, I'd encourage you to kind of go through the projects page, see what kind of projects we've had submitted in the past, what things have been voted on. We've done all sorts of projects, from zero gravity flights to open lunar time standards to this art rocket project trip in Brazil with a cosmonaut and astronaut. We've done things that are just more on kind of the growth and outreach side or software development side within MoonDAO. So it kind of runs the gamut in terms of what we did. Recently we had the world's biggest analog scholarship proposal, which supported 10 candidates to do their analog missions here in October. We funded something like 80 projects now over the course of these past almost 3 or 4 years. So yeah, take a look through moondao.com/projects. You can see kind of what things have been done in the past, but if you have any specific ideas that you want to explore, obviously bring up an ideation. If you're not in the Discord, you can join our community in the conversation at Discord, or just go to moondao.com/Discord. That's easier. It'll redirect you. There are some funding restrictions there in terms of how much can be given to any given project. So I believe it's 20% for any one given project out of the total project pool, which will be defined on the 1st of January, but it's generally been around $65,000, just depends on the liquid assets there in the DAO. So yeah, review the project system guidelines and let's chat. I know obviously like both Trent and William, they had some amazing ideas that they submitted in the past, and also some of the other people who were trying to attend this Baikonur launch. Hopefully we can develop some of those into project proposals here for Q1. But yeah, we will shift gears here. Maybe I'll invite Vartan up on stage. He's around. Hey, Vartan, how are you?
I'm good. How the sound is? Is it good?
Yeah, sounds good. I figured we'd kick things off with you, just as a congratulations, obviously, for the follow-up on the project, and it's, a little continuation of what we were talking about. Any thoughts, Vartan, on the experience that Trent and William shared here? It's pretty cool to see all that come to fruition, I guess.
Definitely, yeah. It was amazing to see how the pictures came to the rocket, how the people, how the Trent and William expressed their feelings about the whole trip, how they made like MoonDAO citizen like in every country, cities through the Baikonur, Kazakhstan, how they hang up culturally with the people, like to see other things and especially to see like the launch. That's amazing, yeah, and like to have this kind of opportunity, it's very valuable thing, yeah. That the MoonDAO like did great job of that, yeah.
Yeah, super cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I guess this is kind of an ongoing theme in terms of the project and the work being done, but I don't know if you have any updates. I know we need to just get together and schedule some of these existing videos to go out, but any brief updates you want to provide to the community about the project and where things stand?
I thought that MoonDAO can upload like some of the already prepared videos. I guess it's not published yet, but hope maybe like in a few days we can publish like some of them, and keep going like every week, publishing like two each week probably. And yeah, I'm still composing some of the music for the videos because like we have some problems with the copyright music in different platforms, different rules. So also trying to figure out which will be the best for the videos. Also still editing, combining some footages, photos for the last videos. Yeah, and also doing the more long video about the A-months interview that we have in the trip in Brazil, and hope we can see as an achievement for everybody, and to look how it really looks like all the things that we did with the MoonDAO and Unity together, how we combine astronaut and cosmonaut together, inspiring kids, going to the hospitals and all this stuff, and like all the audience can see the really how it was like in the pictures, in the videos, and get some feelings and inspiration. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, we can, obviously the Space Camp fundraise took a lot of bandwidth, but we can, figure out the next steps and get things going out and be a good follow-up, obviously after this launch has taken place. So yeah, excited to release some more of this content that we've got in the archives, I guess.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Thank you, Vartan.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.
Cool. All right. Who wants to pop up next? Kara or Frank? Kara, okay. Hey, how's it going?
This was a fun one today. Thanks, guys. It was exciting. I was able to chat with Will right when he got back. But it was fun to see all the real life action and just overall, once again, as I've shared in previous times, I'm really enjoying getting to know all the members, having a lot of chats, and yeah, feeling like I'm a part of the crew and just, getting started on that. And I'm excited to continue on this journey with you all. And my updates this week, let's see. So we have good news that we've finalized the panelists or the presenters for the Funding Space event. So to finalize that, to share with everybody, we have 4 speakers, and the whole theme is around funding and financing in space from different perspectives. So Pablo is going to open up the presenter talks with a presentation. And then we will hear from Alexandra, who's the CEO and general partner at Beyond Earth Ventures. And then Ruben Portella will present. He's the founder of Wise 3 Ventures. And then finally, we'll hear from Daniel Barr, who's the CEO of a space computer. So they're coming back to me with their bios and, you know, that kind of stuff. So we start getting the media prepared and also having them asking them to put together a little bit of a title or topic for their presentation so that they're aware that they're going to be giving more of like a presentation versus just a panel discussion. So I'm really happy with the group. I think it's a nice mix of a founder of a recently funded company that's very exciting, and 2 investors, one that has a mix of Web3 and space deep tech, and then one that's just all space and deep tech, and then Pablo. So we are waiting to hear too if we'll have any opening presenters as the potentials for the astronauts to present something. So waiting to hear back from Pablo on that if he gets connections with the astronauts that are part of MoonDAO. And so next steps on that, waiting for final confirms. And the plan is to start marketing this event at the beginning of the year. The event's January 28th. So, you know, people can really only plan like a month max out of their schedule. If we start sending out invites now, it's the end of the year. Plus they'll like forget, you know, when you RSVP for an event and then you're like, oh my gosh, I totally forgot it was happening when you put it on your calendar like 2 months in advance. So it's much better just to do it closer to the date, not too close. And we have a really solid list of our influencers, basically, that are pretty much you all as members of MoonDAO that will be a part of the co-marketing process, inviting 1,000 people each within your LinkedIn network. So I've gotten pretty much that list together from conversations with you all. And on a broader level, you know, just reiterating this is like, I think it's a really helpful strategy to have this kind of referral model initiating with this project, and we see how it goes and continue on. The feedback is that, you know, it is helpful to have more ways that people in the DAO can engage and be rewarded within projects that are relevant. And this is also like, we're all wanting to grow our personal brands, right? We all want to like have there's potential new job or collaboration opportunities. And so getting yourself out there more visible as a member in ways like inviting people through your network to something you're associated with, you know, this is like the whole kind of collective growth strategy that we want to think that we're growing MoonDAO, but we're growing us at the same time as individuals. And that's just a win-win for everybody. Also on the financial side, you know, it's not like a massive like amount. Everyone gets about $100 in Mooney, but it takes you maybe an hour to send to your network. And if these kinds of things start to kind of happen on a more regular basis, that's motivation for a little bit more engagement from everybody. And then of course, driving new members as well. It should be a secondary motivator is the monetary aspects, but you know, it can be up there in terms of why people would be interested in joining. And it doesn't necessarily mean that people are all joining because they are going to have a proposal. They might do some contributions, or they might be a influencer type member. And, you know, influencer, the way I'm using it here, doesn't matter how many followers you have. There was a minimum, like we want to have people that have like close to at least 2,000 LinkedIn contacts. So, but you know, there's micro influencers, and many of you are very active in the space industry. So that's that network that we're going to tap into. And I'm learning and hearing from people that, you know, maybe the space industry isn't massive. So if we're sending out 20,000 invites, we might be reaching a good portion of the active space industry on LinkedIn, which is great. In my experience with events too, that are around funding, I did a virtual LinkedIn live event last year around grant funding in Web3, and it was really well attended. Funding is pretty interesting. So I think we're going to have a good experience. And yeah, well, as I mentioned, we're going to have a registration form for this event also. So this is where we're going to be grabbing, getting the email addresses of those that are signing up. And then our goal is marketing to them before the event, reminding them, getting them excited, and then doing post-event reels. And then also the goal is to have them, to invite them to onboard into the MoonDAO AI agent. That's the plan, is very focused on that and having that come together so that there's like this, exciting way for them to explore MoonDAO, not necessarily have to jump on and be a member right away, but even onboard into the agent to give them some early info. Plus we'll have their email addresses, so we'll be able to continue to re-engage them. And I think that's kind of the major updates on the event side of things. We'll also be, I will reach out to the different space related news outlets. I was going to have a speaker maybe from the media, but I think we just want to keep the focus on the financing aspects, and then, see what pickup we get from a few different news outlets in the space area. Okay, so that's that. And then, oh yeah, we can kind of talk about logistics, because it is going to be on StreamYard also. Is where we're going to be streaming it through LinkedIn Live with StreamYard, and then maybe Ryan can help with, if you're a StreamYard pro. I'm like okay at it, but that would be
broadcast across multiple spots for sure. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I was thinking that would be sweet, because if you wanted to be sort of mission control, then I could be more like hosting and not have to worry a little bit less about.
Yeah, we can chat about that for sure. But we can.
Amazing.
Be good to get this out on Luma calendars and all that, circulate it far and wide. And
totally.
Splash.
Right. Now we also have on that with Luma. So there's let me see if I can share the link. It's just actually like in setup phase right now, but maybe I touched on it before. There's a really cool protocol called Unlock Protocol. Can I drop this link in the chat? Is that okay?
Yeah, maybe put it in Discord after.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, be good.
Okay. Well, anyway, we have a likely we could do a Loom event, but you don't want to have too many different places where the event links are. Because we're on-chain DAO, the goal is to get people into also understanding a bit more on-chain tools. So Unlock Protocol has an event ticketing platform that's free, and I've set up the initial event on Arbitrum on-chain on Arbitrum, and then people can claim that event ticket for free and have an NFT for the event. So that's kind of a fun way for them to have this on-chain experience plus get an NFT. So we'll be marketing with that link if that works for everybody. So for those of you that are participating, and anyone, of course, that's whether you're in this influencer group or not, please share this link. And then also you can send out LinkedIn invites. Every person can send up to 1,000 invites on LinkedIn just for an event, just FYI. That's like a LinkedIn rule. And then on the tech side of things, so we're making good progress on this AI agent. Last week I shared the kind of general summary feedback from the community that definitely centered around wanting to have more ways to stay connected in terms of membership. And talking with some different teammates, it feels like this agent is definitely a great test for us to explore. So we're rolling it out for testing next week, and going to be testing that with our test group. And I think Colin's going to participate in that too. So we'll have, and also Philip has been also very helpful and wants to be a part of testing. Then the next step with that is basically we can start working on this now, is we want to start thinking about how we're going to brand this agent. So my thought was Agent Mooney. Ryan, do you guys have, or anyone here, do you have any thoughts about how we should vote, or should we vote, or how do we go about that?
Yeah, I mean, it could be cool to just pose the question in the Discord too. I mean, you could do more of an unofficial type poll or survey and get people engaged with the decision, or suggesting names too. we don't have to do like a snapshot type official vote or something like this. But
Okay,
yeah.
well, I'm gonna put that in a couple different spots in the Discord. I'll just see if I can have the same link, but maybe a poll or something, and
Yeah.
suggest a few names, and then you guys suggest a few names, and then maybe we could go to vote. But I like that idea of keeping it open because it's, it's a fun thing to do together.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then working on the copy and the onboarding. So that's a little bit of a thing. Like we want to determine what is the onboarding flow that we want someone coming through an agent to do. Also through testing, been able to set it up where if people have feature requests or questions, you can direct that to an email address or to a Discord handle. So it acts almost also like a sort of support friend, onboarding, and matchmaking guide. That is its initial intelligences. And then as we go forward, it definitely will be really cool also to explore how we can bring in more advanced features, from the rewards and missions and group coordination. That's going to get into more complexity. But yeah, I think it would definitely be great. That's kind of what I've heard from interviews too, that like just more rewards and stuff like that. So as I kind of touched on a little bit before too, is like it is a potential area of a bucket, an area of like marketing funds. I know rewards already exist and contributor rewards, and that's a big portion of your budget already. So it's not saying that you're not doing that, just, maybe another little bit of a layer for marketing specifically. Yeah, and then the last thing is the analytics dashboard. So that is also in development, and this is going to allow you guys to have your own analytics dashboard for metrics, and then add in the APIs and CSV files for the different channels that you have. Toggle on and off whether you want them public or not, and then that way you can have it on automated, to see that data and share that as you want without having to work with any third parties. So that is
cool. Awesome. Yeah. Well, it was exciting to see some of the feedback too from the, interviews and conversations you've been having with members. Obviously great to get a fresh set of eyes on some of these things. So that's much appreciated. And yeah, excited for the potential of the AI agent too, to just help guide people and rock how we work and ask the questions that maybe they're too shy to ask maybe sometimes in other formats. And I think it can be very, very helpful, obviously. So yeah, that is where that goes.
Thank you.
Cool. Thank you, Kara. Okay, we have Frank here, perhaps. Frank, are you there? Hey.
Hi, Ryan.
How are you doing, Frank?
I'm doing well. I'm going to have to take a call fairly soon.
Okay, no worries. We're wrapping up here quick too, but yeah, any updates from Basil?
I'll make it quick in 5 minutes or so. So as you know, Ryan, I had 4 commitments, I should say, from me to the community for the next couple of months. And the first one was to create the fundraising plan for the big project, which is the Overview Effect Comparison Project. So I've been working with you and Pablo. I'd say the plan is pretty close to being complete. Number 2, talking to all the carriers. What would it cost to fly on them? And maybe I should talk to the Russians. I don't know. Very interesting presentation today. So I haven't talked to them yet, but talked to about half of those we want to talk to, and we're working on the others. The third thing on the list was $100,000 in soft commitments. We're at 13,000 right now, and I've got some pretty good leads for others. So we're working on that. I'm calling it aspirational commitments. And finally, upgrading to produce a launch video. And I've been working with NVIDIA on that. I'm still not where I want to be with that, but I have upgraded my capability and I'm working on that. So I would say we're making good progress. And actually, between Christmas and New Year's, when things slow down, actually will be a good time to work on the project. So I see a lot of time opening up for me to work on that. So I'm feeling pretty good about it.
Cool. Yeah, we've been having some great conversations and making good progress just in general in terms of really locking things down and coming to more solid decisions, I guess, and exciting things to come, I guess. We'll just drop those hints, but yeah.
Drop a few hints. It's going to be terrific.
Exactly. Cool.
And, more to come, more to come.
Yep. All right. Thank you, Frank.
I'm going to hop out, but thank you, Ryan.
All right. See ya.
Thanks.
Oh, got Frank off, but cool. Yeah, that's all we have for Project Roundtable updates this week. We have a couple folks who just weren't able to make it, as I mentioned at the beginning, due to other commitments today and the travel and holiday season and all that. So yeah, hope everyone enjoyed the presentation conversation about the Baikonur launch experience. And thank you for sticking through the full update here, this week's town hall. And again, I'll just emphasize January 15th, a little over a month away. Start formulating those ideas, get those ideas cooking over the holidays, so you can come into the new year guns blazing with a new cool project idea that you want to propose to the community, and hopefully get funded and start building some cool stuff with the support of MoonDAO. So yeah, we'll send out some more updates around that and keep reminding everyone about the upcoming deadline. But looking forward to discussing more ideas with everyone and exploring what we can do together. But yeah, that's basically it for this week. Thank you again, everyone, for joining us today. Don't forget, next week, same time, same place, be our last town hall here before Christmas. So yeah, looking forward to seeing everyone then. Have a good weekend. Peace.
Welcome to MoonDAO, a revolutionary governance model and mission-oriented community that's reshaping collaboration in the space industry. Our mission is to create a self-sustaining, self-governing settlement on the moon to act as a launch point into the cosmos. MoonDAO is governed like a nation, with its own economy, constitution, voting system, treasury, elections, and senate, but internet native, and so without the limitations of geography. In 2022, we sent our first member to space, showcasing our model's capacity for real-world impact. Now, we're implementing key solutions for global collaboration in the space industry. We offer a borderless, permissionless platform that enables everyday people to participate in the future of space development and exploration. Be part of our lunar legacy and join the MoonDAO movement today.